Um, Good morning. I'm Jackson, and you are currently watching The Knit and the Grit episode 2. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, if you want to see any more. I know I just started out, so there's only this and another video, and these are probably a little rough, but trying to learn. I am not tech savvy, so this is what I have. You can find me on Instagram as @TheKnitAndTheGrit, and I'm also on Ravelry as JacksonRoe, R-O-E, all one word. Where I'm trying to keep my projects all up to date and everything, and stuff, so if anyone's curious as to how something looks or if there's other images of it, you can look there. I favorite a lot of things and what have you. I'm trying to get better at utilizing Ravelry other than just saving stuff that I like, but you can find me on those two platforms. Instagram's where I tend to post the most things, though. That's where I'm the most active. So if you're curious as to what I'm working on, you can hit that up. Coffee. I'm drinking my coffee out of a mug I made my sophomore year in college, so coming up on 3 years ago, something like that. I designed it with the intent of it looking like knitting, but it ended up looking like weird hearts, but it's fine. Ugh. So, how are you lovely people? I hope all is well. It's been 2 weeks since I last did this. Hopefully this week will be better than last week. I have a fun shirt on that says Snuggly AF, which is pretty true. My boyfriend can attest to that, my mom can attest to that, my sister can attest to that. I'm the snuggly one in the family. But yeah, I have made some progress that I wasn't expecting to make. And I've got some new things going on. If I'm looking over there a fair bit, I'm sorry, but I have my camera hooked up to an HDMI cord so I can actually see where I'm positioned and whether or not you guys can kind of see stuff, because I know last podcast I had some technical difficulties with things being out of focus when I was trying to show them. I'm a fair bit farther away from the camera this time too, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to see full objects and stuff like that. I don't have anything big this week, but in the future this will probably be kind of a similar setup, maybe different location because I'm not sure about the lighting. I've got an overhead light like right there shining down upon me, so I don't know if that'll cause some difficulties with seeing colors, but I'm trying to figure it out. So yeah, my TV's over here with the camera hooked to the HDMI cable so I can see that the camera is playing when it's playing and that things are in focus, so bear with me. I'm trying to look at the camera versus over there. But I was not expecting to get as much work done. I don't make a ton of knitting progress on the weekends, just because I don't get to see my boyfriend during the week. He works and lives about an hour away from here, so I try to knit as much as I can during the week, and then on the weekends we do what we want to do, which is eat food and go to the gym, and do stuff and watch movies. But So I got a lot more done than I was expecting. It's also, this is the Monday before class starts back up again for the University of Mississippi. So like I have a fair amount of things to do this week, and I need to sign up for the GRE and a GRE prep course and get ready for school and stuff. And even though I'm taking one class, I still need to kind of get my life in order and get laundry done and get the house clean and start off the new semester, you know, on a good foot. But so I finished some things that were in the works, got something that wasn't in the works done and blocked and everything, so that was super exciting and kind of unexpected. So my first of the knit section for the knit and the grit. I keep wanting to say nitty gritty, and that is not what it is. I'm going with the knit and the grit to go with the name of this podcast and the name of my Instagram. But so the first one, I can't actually show y'all because I don't have it here. Because it was the Simple SKYP socks by Adrian Koo. And those socks were for my boyfriend. And I finally finished them, got them blocked, weaved in all the ends and everything, and I gave that to him 2 weeks ago. Or 2 weekends ago. So like right after the first podcast. And so I don't have them. They were on this yarn, which is, I don't know if this is gonna focus. Might have to get really in there. Boop, boop, boop. I don't know if that focused or not, but I don't think so. By the way, this is Acorn by Barnyard Knits, and great orange color. It's not crazy saturated, but it's much more fall in color, and my boyfriend's favorite color is orange. So those are done. He has worn them the past 2 weekends that I have seen him, and they probably need to be washed, but I think he's afraid to wash them because they're hand knit, even though I told him they're super wash merino and can literally be thrown in the washer and dryer if he so chooses, or just hang them up in his bathroom. By the way, those are done. Off the needles, off the blockers, off to him where they need to be. And then my second one I showed last week as well. Where did I put them? Oh god, I just had these. Oh, there. Are my Mithril gauntlet, or mitts, gauntlets, whatever you want to call them. Kind of thinking of gauntlets because it's Mithril, which is supposed to be like crazy strong metal but super light, which is basically what these are, but wool and not metal. But these turned out a lot better than I was necessarily expecting. I don't normally do magic loop, which is what I did these in. And I also, let's see, I did an afterthought thumb, remembered what that was called because I didn't know what that was called last time. Did an afterthought thumb and stuff, and they're just really comfy and soft, and they stretched out a little bit after blocking. I didn't block these really hard or anything like that. I just kind of washed them and like laid them flat and tugged at them a little bit, just so that way then the stitches would loosen up a tiny bit so you could see some of like the stitch definition and stuff. But these are going to be super comfy. I'm really excited because I don't have fingerless mitts. I have always been interested in them and stuff. Like I usually have really great circulation, but as soon as my hands and feet get cold, I'm a popsicle and can't get warm. So winter really sucks in the sense of if my feet get cold, my feet are cold for a really long time. But that's fine. This will help with keeping my hands a little bit warmer and also being able to do things and touch things and text and whatever while outside, slash knitting while outside and stuff, because I'll probably be on the patio a lot, which once it gets cooler and isn't like 90 something outside, I might start doing this podcast outside, because that would be really pleasant, because I got a patio and it's like enclosed kind of thing, and simple backdrop because there's a little wooden thing on the back, but I might do that. That'd be nice, but it needs to get a little chilly here. But yeah, so I have those done. And then I talked about this last time we podcasted, but I hadn't even gotten the yarn yet. And because I hadn't had the yarn yet, I definitely had not cast it on yet. But I finished my Kobuck hat by, I think that I'm saying that right, Kobuck, something like that, K-O-B-U-K, by Caitlin Hunter. Let's see if you can kind of see the baubles. It's a DK weight hat held with mohair. So it's super fluffy and warm. Let me put this on. I love how it looks on. Well, not how it looks right now on. That looks kind of like the Pope hat. I love how it looks on. I look really hipster right now because I have my glasses on and I'm wearing a t-shirt that says Snuggly AF, but it's super comfy. Because the mohair, it's a little bit thicker than DK and really fluffy, so I'm thinking it'll probably be really warm when it gets chilly, and which will be great because I want to be outside more than I have been because it's been so hot. But anyways, this turned out really great. Oh, you can kind of see the bubbles there. It's got like these cute little like ridge patterns. There's, let's see, like right here in one of the smaller little like ridges, it has seed stitch, and this is, the yarn this is in is Spice Cider by oh my gosh, by Dragon Horde Yarns, and it's in her Magic DK base and her Pegasus base. So the Pegasus is her silk mohair, DK Magic, and super fluffy. I still have this thing, so it came with like a stupid amount of mohair. I still have enough to make a second hat out of this if I were to get a second ball of yarn, or of the DK weight yarn, which is kind of cool. I don't know what I'll do with it. I don't normally work with mohair. Mohair also, the fluffs like to go up my nose and make my allergies go cray-cray. So I'm happy this is washed and blocked because I don't have to worry about that as much anymore. But while knitting this, I was, oh my gosh, it was so bad. And then I think ragweed is blooming here or something. Either way, anytime I walk outside my house, like I took Luna for a walk the other day and I couldn't, it was just running, it was bad. She was fine, she's wonderful, but she's also big fluffy pupper. I'll have to include her in the podcast at some point, but she's my boyfriend's dog, so I only get to see her on the weekends. But she's my little baby. But anyway, so those are my knits, my FOs. I have one hoe, so half finished object, or half object, whatever you want to call it, which I finished this last night. My boyfriend left and I was just like, miss boyfriend. So I was like, I'm gonna work on my sock, and this one I was almost at the toe anyways, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna finish this baby up and be done with it. But this is the "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" sock. I think that one's turning out pretty well. It's got little eyelet trees. I did only 3 repeats of the eyelets. It is Blizzard colorway by Barnyard Knits. I really love this colorway. I have another skein of it, so I'm going to be making something else. But again, that is still top secret, because I'm assuming my boyfriend is watching this, because he told me he would. But so yeah, it's got this cute little twisted rib that goes down to the toe, and they're really comfy on. I have to fix something though. I wove in my ends, or I wove in, you know, like where I cast it on, because this is a cuff down sock, not long after casting on the cuff. And because I didn't feel like having the little stringy bit just hang in there. And it came unwoven, and I have no idea how, because I'm really good about weaving my ends in and not having an issue. So I've got just this little eensy weensy teensy tiny bit of yarn sticking out, and if I pull on it, it tightens my stitches back up like it's supposed to be on the cuff. But so I have to reweave that in somehow. I'll figure it out. I might have to do some Googling or something, or just get creative. You know what, I might actually take my sewing machine to it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, so I have to fix that, but that was a mistake on my end. I should have woven it in better, I guess, and should have left maybe a little bit longer, little tiny bit on it before snipping it so short. But I've got my cute little progress keepers, so I actually kind of know how many stitches it takes for me to do kind of my foot of my sock, because this is the 3rd pair of socks I've ever worked on or completed in terms of like a sock, because there's my Denim socks, there's the simple SKYP socks that I just finished for my boyfriend, and there's this one. And so I have not figured out my vanilla sock base 100% yet, like my little recipe formula. I do know that I do like 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles, and it looks to be about 20, 40, about 55 stitches from where I pick up for the heel flap and gusset, so right there, till I get to where I start the toe. And so yeah, I'm slowly but surely figuring that out, and I need to kind of figure that out because I have another vanilla sock, but that one's solid whip, had not finished first sock kind of situation. I've not cast on the second sock for this one, but I probably will later on today, because I've been really good about not having second sock syndrome, but I don't want to get second sock syndrome at all, because Sleeve Island is a thing, but I don't want to have the second sock syndrome. So I'll be casting that on. And I got my cute, since these are Christmas socks, I figured I would do a little peppermint bark stitch marker and chocolate chip cookie. And the peppermint bark one I think is from Sweet Cherry Jewelry, something like that, on Etsy. And then a little chocolate chip cookie is from Pitter Patter Polymer on Etsy. And I have a couple of other stitch markers from Pitter Patter Polymer that I really like. So on to the grits. So my grind pieces, the stuff that I'm working on and nowhere near done. So first off, I'm going to show, because I don't think I showed this last time, or I barely had any started and I was just kind of calling it my vanilla sock. But I decided to name it just because it feels kind of themed. So I'm calling it Are There Mer People in the Black Lake? So this gives me Harry Potter vibes. So I was like, we're gonna run with it. Hold on. So this is something fell. Let's see, is it going to show up? It's this really beautiful kind of dark teal color. It sparkles, if you can't tell. So it's gold sparkle base sock by Barnyard Knits in the Mermaid Tails colorway. I'm doing a simple vanilla sock with this. 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeter needles. I'm not going to make the cup very long just because I don't really like crazy long cup socks. But I did a 2x2 twisted rib, which I love how that looks. So that will be happening more frequently on socks that I make, is do a 2x2 twisted rib. Because it looks so neat and tidy and just glorious. Let's see, how can we show the things? Oh well. And I've got a little Harry Potter Daily Prophet progress keeper on here that says Flying Fort Anglia mystifies muggles. Just to keep with the Harry Potter theme. This color just really made me think of the 4th Harry Potter book and the 2nd task and everything, and like how like it's like a color that just like kind of makes me think of the cover of the book for the kind of traditional US hard copies and stuff, because I know they just redid the covers. But anyways, I love Harry Potter. The 4th Harry Potter book is not my favorite book, it's the 3rd one. But the 2nd task was cool, and it just really, it made me think of the book, and it made me think of the movie during that particular part of the movie and everything. So I'm really excited for these, and it's sparkly. I've never had a sparkly sock ever, so I'm really excited to finish these babies up. And there's really cool pops of like magenta in there, which aren't going to show up on here, but like magenta and like mustard and stuff like every so often, and they're little tiny speckles, which I really like, so it's pretty subtle. But in love with these and really excited to make more progress. But those are just kind of my vanilla socks that I'm in no hurry to finish. They're just to have eventually and wear and snuggle in, but by no means is there a deadline running on it, because I have plenty of side note, I love socks, and it wasn't until this summer that I started making my own socks, but I definitely ordered handmade socks online from Latvia. So I've got a bunch of like you know, worsted spun style like Latvian colorwork socks that are just awesome and so comfortable. So I've got a lot of socks. I'm just trying to make my own socks now. But so side note, done. We're getting back on track now. So my next whip, I casted this on Saturday night. Me and my boyfriend were watching a movie and stuff or something. I made a swatch earlier in the day just out of boredom because I wanted to see how this yarn was gonna knit up. So this is the yarn. God, I want this to show up really bad on here. Do the thing. Maybe next thing I get is a ring light versus an HDMI cable. Better, I need to move a little lamp over here so things are a little bit easier to see. This is Sweater Weather by Dragon Horde Knits, or Dragon Horde Yarn, in her Magic DK base. And so it's got kind of like this beigey gray base color with pops of orange and yellow and like dark burnt orange colors and brown, and there's some purple in there, and it just gives so much fall vibes. I'm in love with this. I love how it knitted up. This is also like my swatch to kind of make sure that what I'm making with this yarn is oversized anyways. There's 10 inches of positive ease on this bad boy. But, so I'm not too worried about fit. If this were going to be something fitted, I would have cared a little bit more, but I was kind of just looking to see that it was going to be close to what I wanted, or what the gauge calls for. I hate doing gauge swatches, so I rarely ever do them. But anyways, so what you're all probably asking yourselves is, what the hell is she making? Well, I will tell you. I am making the Mithril sweater, and I finally got my pattern in the mail. Bree's Making Stories. I will show you a picture of what this beautiful, beautiful sweater looks like. That's it. It's got this beautiful deep V with like lace eyelets on like the sleeves and sides, and it's really beautiful. I love it. I have not made a lot of progress on it, which I will show you in a second. I've literally just cast it on the back. So this is the ribbing at the bottom. This is all done in separate pieces, and then you seam it together at the end in finishing. This is my first time ever doing a seam sweater, and this is also one of the most complicated looking patterns I have ever seen. And I think that's just because I have never worked a pattern that didn't necessarily go line by line in terms of what you're supposed to do. So where it'd be like yarn over, knit, knit for blah 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 stitches, do this. This is like, it gives, Emily Green has done a great job with giving really detailed instructions, and which I'm super thankful for, because if not I would be so lost. But it's all kind of broken up into pieces, so it's like you're working a chart and doing this, and then you also have a section that's explaining the type of shaping you're doing, and you might have to be doing 2 different types of shaping that are expressed in different sections of the pattern. So there's going to be a lot of flipping back and forth, which I'm not used to. And me being the type of person that I am, where I have a hard time focusing sometimes, I see the potential of me getting lost. And that is all on me, not the pattern by any means. It's just, I've never done a pattern like this that has been written in this format. I know a lot of designers out there do this kind of format. I just have never done a pattern that does it. Because I'll have to flip back and forth between like where the charts are and where it's talking about like the shaping for like the neckline, and then also doing the armhole shaping and stuff. So it'll just be a little, probably the most complicated pattern I've done to date in terms of you know, just general construction, not so much like it's not like I'm doing a complicated cable or something. But yeah, how did my battery drop that low that fast? It just said it was fully charged. Oh my god. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. Alrighty, I'm back ish. I think so. Okay, battery has charged up a little bit, and I have returned. So I think what I was saying last was Mithril pattern, complicated. I will get used to it. There might be a few bumps in the road. I'm really excited though, because I think this will be a really awesome sweater. It is supposed to be, this is designed for like cold summer nights, cold spring nights kind of thing, but I live in Mississippi. It don't get that cold at night. Like, it drops to 85 at night, maybe, if we're lucky. So we can't really do that in the summertime. But it'll be great for Mississippi fall and winter weather. Because, again, we're in the deep south, and that was really bad of me. I shouldn't have done that. But, you know, like, I'm pretty far south, so it takes a lot for it to get pretty cold here. So this will be really nice. And I can layer with it, because there's so much positive bees, I can fit all the things underneath. But that, I think, is it for my whips. Hopefully I'll make a lot of progress on this sweater and not screw up too bad. Fingers crossed. But I do have some recent acquisitions that I figured I would talk about. First up, I was talking to my sister the other day, maybe about like a week ago, and like, I know it's August, it's summertime and stuff, but I'm not a slow knitter per se, but I do have a tendency to kind of put things down and then not pick them up for a while. So I asked my sister what she wanted for her birthday and for Christmas, because her birthday is at the beginning of December. So that way then, if she wanted something knitted, I would have time to make it and be able to actually give it to her, versus waiting 2 years to get a present that I made her. That actually happened. I made her a big like cowl scarf, and it took me 2 years to finish it, and it really shouldn't have. But so I asked her in advance to let me know what she wanted, and so Allie, close your ears, because I know you've already seen the yarn because I sent you pictures, but close your ears. She said that she wanted mittens, and she wanted mittens that were like lined and stuff, but I don't know how to do that. I mean, I could learn, but I find that like usually yarn's pretty warm to begin with, and the only time I have issues with my hands not being warm is usually with like leather gloves. But so also my sister really hates the cold. She is not a fall winter person. She is a late spring summer girl and hates wintertime, how gray it gets, how cold it gets. She lives in DC, so it's pretty wet during the wintertime there too. So it's just cold and damp, and so not fun for my sister. But she said she wanted mittens, so I saw that Autumn and Indigo, which is this yarn brand, I think she said she was moving or something, but she is destashing. She might still be, I think she's still destashing, but there's not much left on her website, which is autumnandindigo.com if you're curious. Because I was just looking on there earlier today, because I think she has really great colors. In terms of like really bright pops of colors. But anyways, my sister wants mittens, and her favorite color is pink, and she's also really been liking minty greens and sagey greens, and so this one kind of fits. So this is Shibuya. Do and focus. It don't want to do it. It wants to focus way back here. But there's a bunch of cool speckles. Well, whatever. Bunch of speckles. This one's green and sagey with like aqua pops and stuff. So I'm going to be I'm going to be using a pattern by Scandier Knits on Ravelry. She has a DK weight Selbu mitten pattern, which is like kind of like the classic Norwegian mitten, and which I thought my sister would really like. It's because my sister, my mom, and I, we went to Norway like 4 years ago, just the three of us, and did like a cruise of the fjords, which is the most touristy thing you can do in Norway. But we had a lot of fun, and my sister is really bad about buying souvenirs, and so she didn't really buy anything while we were there. She didn't, like, I have a pair of like really cool mittens and stuff, but she didn't buy anything. But or if she did, it was just something kind of small. But last year I bought her Norwegian mittens, like, that someone else had made. But this year I'm gonna make her mittens in these colors to brighten up her winter. So they'll be wonderfully colorful and hopefully make her happy during the winter time, since she hates it so much. I don't understand how she can hate it as much, because I'm totally all about the fall and the winter. Those are my favorite seasons. But she don't like it. But that might also be the Florida girl in her. Just be like, no, let me live on the beach. But anyways, so I got that. And then along with that, I bought this. This probably isn't going to show up very well. But if you can see, it sparkles. This is, again, by Autumn and Indigo. It is a mini sock skein thing that I have already wound. It is, the colorway is Loma. And so it's like kind of like a golden mustard color, and I really like it. I originally got it to hold double and be an additional color with these three, which I thought would look really pretty together, and then it have something a little sparkly. But I was showing my sister pictures of what I had gotten to just make sure that it was going to be something that she would like, and she wasn't about all three of them together. She liked the pink and the green blue color together. She liked the pink and the gold together, the blue and the gold together. She didn't like all three of them together. So I'm just gonna do the Shibuya and the hemisphere color together, so that pink and green. But yeah, so I got that, and I haven't had much more really come in other than like my Dragon Horde stuff, but that's, y'all have already seen that because I've casted it on. I ordered Progress Keepers, so I've got like the little plain metal hooky type ones that look kind of like a safety pin Progress Keepers, but I kind of wanted some like kind of cuter ones and like seasonal looking ones. So I put in an order with Pitter Patter Polymer, and she's on Etsy, Pitter Patter Polymer, from Birmingham, Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. And so I got a little, oh god, this isn't going to focus. This is it. Focus there, do it. It's not going to. Okay. Well, maybe it'll do if I do this. Nope. Okay, never mind. Either way. Peanut butter and jelly. I love peanut butter and jelly. This was a staple of my diet growing up. And then I got a little s'more, which I also really like s'mores, and that made me really happy. And then I don't know where the other one is, but the other one that I want to show you is not by Pitter Patter Yarn. Or not Pitter Patter Yarn, Pitter Patter Polymer. I think it's Sweet Cherry Jewelry. And it's in, oh, there it is. And I got this because we're moving into fall, so I wanted a cute little fall one. And it's a little jack-o'-lantern cookie. I don't know if the face will show it very well on there, but anyway. It's just like a little sugar cookie with frosting that looks like a jack-o'-lantern, and I really liked it, so I'm really happy I have it, because I don't have a lot of those kind of cutesy Progress Keepers. And then It's not necessarily an acquisition. The reason why I'm not showing my I Smell Snow shawl is because I have worked on it, but I haven't made a lot of progress. I've done another eyelet row, which is like every 13 rows right now where I'm at. But, and I'm still in the second eyelet section, so I haven't gotten very far. And I'm probably not going to show it until I get past the color change after the third eyelet section. But I'm currently waiting on another order of yarn to come in because I was working on it and I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to have enough to make the full shawl the size that I want it to be with what I have. Just because I am working with a thicker yarn, so you tend to work through it a little bit faster. Even though like I have like the same yardage that it would have been in fingering, I think that I was a little bit short. I'm not sure. But either way, it just didn't look like it was going to work out. And so I put in another order with JacksonRoe for another 2 skeins of stout and another 2 skeins of tawny. And which will be great because then I should most certainly have enough to finish the shawl and then also do the tassels that are on the pattern, because I want the tassels because that just looks like fun and wonderfully distracting, but in the best way. I'll just be like sitting in the library or something playing with it, I don't know. But I really want the tassels on there because I like how it looked. So I probably won't show that until I get to that second color color section. But that is kind of like it in terms of knitting things. But I do have a little bit of a sewing corner at the moment, to deviate from the yarny knits and stuff of that nature. So I have been working on this for about 2 months. I think I started this at the very beginning of June. My mom taught me how to sew, and I like quilting more than like garment sewing. So like I've made a quilt before. What I'm sitting on right now is a handmade quilt. You can kind of see like I've had to do some mending, and I'm choosing to go with more visual or visible mending than, you know, trying to hide my places where I did a bad job when I was sewing, because this is the first quilt I ever made and I was not that great and I was not that good at sewing straight lines. But I love this quilt. It lives on my bed. It gets used every night. I've had it since I finished this like back in high school, and so I've had this for probably 6 or 7 years at this point. And it's my favorite and I love it to death. But my boyfriend is one of those people that really like handmade things, so I just gave him his socks, and I was working on this before I started on his socks, but because I knew I'd finish the socks a lot faster than finishing the quilt. So I'm making him a quilt. If my weird roundabout story did not get that point across, I'm making him a quilt. And it's going to be full-sized type quilt, like it'll cover him and stuff, and but I have a really hard time with like sewing for long periods of time because it's a lot of standing and, you know, like pressing, so you're kind of hunched a little bit, and then pinning, so you're like hunched over again, and then when you sit down to sew, you're sewing and you're hunched over again. Like, I don't have great posture, and, you know, for whatever reason, when I sew, my lower back just hurts really bad. It probably doesn't help that I have a wooden chair that I'm sitting in, so that doesn't do any good things for the lower back and what have you. But either way, so I've kind of put it aside for a little while because my back was hurting. But I'm trying to pick it back up again so I can have it done by the time he will really want it, which will be when it gets cold. But so this is just one of the larger blocks sections that I have. So his favorite color is orange. He's also a really big Tennessee Vols fan. So like him and his dad are really into it. They like going to football games and stuff, but he didn't go there, but he's still a big fan. And but anyways, so it's as close to Tennessee orange as I could get. It's a little bit, I think, a little bit darker, but only a tiny bit darker than the Tennessee orange, and then white and charcoal gray. So everything probably looks a lot darker in the film than it does in real life. But I'm currently, I have to construct 6 more of the white crosses for this pattern that I have kind of just winged. So that way then I can piece everything together, but I have to sew the white blocks together. And so my goal is to at least do 1 a day for this coming week. So that way then I'll be done by next week with the white blocks and can then start piecing everything together, because once that happens it'll move a lot faster. And then I also won't be sitting and pressing and at the sewing machine as much, because once the quilt top is done and everything, like I'll be kind of putting like the last little bits together, and for whatever reason that goes a lot faster for me. Like hand sewing the binding goes by really fast for me, even though I feel like a lot of people probably don't like doing that. But so I'm not too far from being done. I am a little bit over halfway, but I felt like I should share, because part of my reason for starting my little podcast was to kind of help keep me accountable and stay on top of my work. So I can't just let things languish. And I really do love quilting and making quilts, so I wanted to get back into doing this, so I figured I'd show. My plans for it don't include sending it out to get quilted, and I'm not going to hand quilt it, because he will never get it if I hand quilt it. But I'm probably just going to tack it, which is what I did with this quilt. So at certain points I took some thread, like some embroidery floss, and tacked it through the batting and the back side of the quilt, and brought it back around a few times and then knotted it. I tend to like how that looks a little bit better than actual quilting, unless the quilting is really decorative. I think that squiggly lined long arm quilting thing that is, I guess, easy. I don't like how that looks at all. I think that looks tacky, so I don't want his quilt to look tacky. I want it to look comfy. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm probably going to do 2 layers of batting in this, because I asked him if he liked the thickness of my quilt, and there's 2 layers of black batting in here, because I wanted mine to be warm and comfy and stuff, because I was thinking this would be really great to snuggle in and, like when it gets cold or something like that, sit outside and what have you. And I do that. When it gets cold here, I literally walk around looking like an Eskimo, just all up in my quilt. I love it so much. So I want him to be able to have that same kind of enjoyment with his quilt. And yeah, so I think that's kind of it in terms of my crafty things that are going on. Like I said earlier in the podcast, school's about to start, so I'm not quite sure how frequent that'll happen once the school year kind of sets in, but seeing as I'm pretty much done with school and I'm not involved in as much anymore, I don't think it'll really hinder me podcasting and stuff. But because I'm not in Greek life anymore, I'm not taking over 15 hours anymore. There's just not as much going on. I don't have as many, I think only like 3 of my close friends are still here, and one's doing her accounting master's. another one's in pharmacy school, and my best friend is just finishing up the last little bit of stuff for her major in nutrition. And I'm done with all of my stuff, but I'm just trying to take Latin to better my chances of going into grad school. But it all just kind of depends on how much stuff is going on with getting grad school stuff done, because my applications are open now for the most part. I think most of them are open, and I'm signing up for a GRE prep course, because trying to do GRE stuff on my own is not easy. Like, ugh, it's a brick. This thing is huge, and for whatever reason, I like to think I'm pretty commonsensical and I test take pretty decently, and the way the GRE phrases their questions is just baffling. So I need a prep course. I need someone to walk me through how this stuff actually is supposed to make logical sense. And also because it's a really long test, and long tests suck. If I could do it via talking and they could test my IQ via that way, or how well I will do in college that way, that'd be, or in a master's program, that'd be awesome, because I could do that. But instead they want me to take a test on a computer. I have a hard enough time reading articles on the computer. I'd much rather do this on paper. But either way, it has to be done if I want to go to graduate school. I'm trying to think if anything else is going on in my life. I'm kind of debating maybe doing a few vlogs. I know it's kind of early, but I'm kind of just enjoying talking in a camera. I don't know why, because it feels kind of weird sometimes, but whatever. And I've got like a really long bucket list for like this semester, so like from August until like New Year's, that I want to do. And so I might try and do some vlogs as I try and complete my bucket list. I'm just not sure how I might do that, but I thought that might be kind of fun. And again, kind of keep me accountable to doing my bucket list. Because, I mean, it's all really fall-y type things, and, you know, like go to the pumpkin patch, and go for a hayride, go apple picking, and bake cookies, and make apple pie, blah, blah, blah. It's very, like, if you ever see those pictures that are like, just girly things, and, you know, basic white girl, like that's basically what my thing looks like. So probably not as interesting, but sounds fun, and also is a way for me to occupy myself this coming semester again, since I'm only taking Latin and it's an hour 3 days a week. And then also hopefully I'll get into designing some knitting patterns and stuff. I don't know how that'll go. I don't know how to write a pattern. I don't know how to tech edit. I don't know how to operate a spreadsheet to make my life easier. So we'll have to see. I'm not great at math either, but I can do it if I sit down. So I might be able to do it manually and then kind of like bring it together. I don't know. I might have to go hit up the bookstore and see if there are any knitting reference books or something, or the library. I doubt the University of Mississippi would have it, but the local public library might. I have to go check that out. But anyways, I'm probably rambling at this point and what have you, but whatever. I felt like chatting, so, but I think I'll end it about here. This one might be a little bit longer than the last one. I'm not sure, but I did I filmed this twice because the first one was rough. So, oh well. It's a learning process. And I literally, my show notes are just me writing down what the patterns are that I'm about to do, or about to talk about. So I know the name and who made it, which I didn't even say. But anyways, everything will be in the drop down bar box thingy below that I talk about. So that way then quick links, or you can Google kind of thing if anyone is interested. But yeah, bye.